Just try to start this back a little bit.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Who here is their first time to a FIBI event? Okay, thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it. For those of you guys who don't know, and I'm sorry for you guys have heard this 50 times, For Investors by Investors, or FIBI, is put together by a couple of full-time investors that were tired of getting a sales pitch every time. Wanted to go to a place where investors could learn and get education without that pitch involved. So if any of our different FIBI clubs, we have around, 7 now, I think, throughout Southern California, and about 22,000 members. And we have, every club runs reoccurring every single month, and so they have different topics, different themes. Sometimes ours is a panel, like mine in Long Beach is more of a roundtable type discussion. We have one in Pasadena, Orange County, San Diego. We have a number of them, and in any of those clubs, you won't get any kind of sales pitch involved. So those clubs are strictly going to be no sales pitch, education only with networking. So I hope we do this. We break even on the club, and all of the chapter leaders don't really make any money at this, mostly just because we develop relationships with people who can help us with our business. And so every one of the chapter leaders is a full-time investor themselves, and so we bring a lot to the table. Bring a lot to the table as far as experience and resources that can help you guys in real estate. So we have different sponsors that help us to throw these things, to keep the money flowing in so we can throw these and not go broke on them. And so those sponsors are usually all related to real estate in one way, or being a proper team member for real estate investing. So that's all I have to say. You want to bring up the sponsors and what's going on with FIBI?
Yeah. How you guys doing today? Good. Sorry about the ABS sorting. It was fixed one day. So a couple months ago, someone took the most extensive notes from a FIBI meeting. I'm not joking. This is like 30-page, almost verbatim. I'm assuming no one took these notes because no one's raising their hands and going, "Thank God you have those." Anyway, we've been saving them for a month, thinking that someone would go through this. We'll do this again next month. For those because I'm telling you, I started looking through notes going, I'm going to hire this person.
What was the topic?
That's a good answer. I know it's not. So thank you guys for coming out tonight. As Matt mentioned, we're purely doing this for the networking for ourselves. The panelists that come up here, we don't look for people that are on the circuit, so to speak. We look for people that are in the market all the time. They do this full time, and they're here to share their day-to-day expertise, not to share with you some system or something that they're trying to sell you. So appreciate you guys coming. As Matt mentioned, we do this. We do have sponsors that sponsor our group. I know you direct IRA. Jeff is sitting back there. So if you guys are looking for self-directed IRA help, we recommend you talk to Jeff. Spiro Woodward is a local attorney firm. Is right here. So they're an attorney firm, real estate firm, business firm. It's here in Torrance. And all of the sponsors have some information on the back if you want to grab their information. Kyle Neely with South Bay Tax and Financial Consulting will not be here tonight because he's busy finishing up my corporate returns. So he sends his apologies. Farmer Insurance is here. Is Randy here? No, so we've got farmers. We've got some information in the back. Walker Dunlop is a commercial lender. I don't think Andrew's here. New Western's a new group. There we go. So right back here, New Western is a wholesaling. So if you guys are looking for wholesale deals, go talk to Jack back there. And then of course, we also have, as Matt mentioned, we've got 7 different groups within FIBI, and actually AJ with More Financial, his company actually sponsors FIBI as a whole. So thank you, AJ, for your, what's that? Oh, that's right, and also Carol Glover's firm also sponsors FIBI as a whole, and this year our goal as a real estate investment club was to grow up and actually get an entity created, and Carol's firm actually helped us put together a non-profit firm. So that's kind of how we do FIBI. It's people that come together. We try to make this inexpensive for you, so you can come and learn. And really, the benefit of FIBI is it's the ability to network and meet each other. So beyond the information that you get from the panel tonight, When we're done here, we'll be done right around 9 o'clock, and we generally try to, we should probably take that down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Rick, where are you at? Can you just, when you're done with that, can you just unplug the slideshow as well? Okay, thank you. So yeah, so when we're done here around 9 o'clock, who here has been to North Italia? Has anyone here been to North Italia? So literally just right across the courtyard here, North Italia is an Italian restaurant. We've got the whole patio rented out. We're going to have food. It's a cash bar, so you can order whatever you want to drink. But you know, for you guys coming, we actually buy a bunch of appetizers. So don't just be here, get some information, and then run off. You're really missing the true value of FIBI, which is getting a chance to network, not just with the panelists, but with each other. There's a lot of serious brain power in the audience as well. So make sure, you know, come grab 10, 15 minutes, grab a drink, grab some food, meet a few people, get a few business cards, and that's really the art of FIBI. The last thing I'll say before we let the panelists introduce themselves, this is not meant to be any tax or legal advice, right? So this is purely for educational perspective. These people are all here just sharing their perspective as investors and being in the real estate industry. If you've got any specific questions about your situation, we highly recommend that you look at your own legal and tax consultants. If you need referrals on those people, we're more than happy to refer you to someone. So just come up and find one of us. And with that, the last thing I'm going to say is that we do have some questions that we've pre-written, but part of, if you've been here before, you know this. We encourage you to ask questions, right? So if you've got a question, raise your hand. We actually much rather spend time answering your questions and then answering the questions that we wrote. So if you've got a question, raise your hand. We'll get through as many questions as we can. If you've got a very specific question about your aunt who owns a farm in Iowa and looking for advice, it's a fantastic question, but probably not in the forum and for everyone. That's what the networking is for after the fact, right? So come, buy one of these guys a drink after the fact, and you can ask the question there. Make sense? Okay, perfect. All right, so we've got an amazing panel tonight. We've got four people up here. Actually, Dave and Carol on the end are husband and wife, and they kind of work together. So we're still kind of keeping our three panelists quota, so to speak. We're going to let these guys introduce themselves. I can tell you what they're doing. Again, not because they're trying to sell you something. They just want to kind of get an understanding of what their day-to-day life is. So when they start talking later in the panel, you get an idea of what their perspective where it's coming from. All right. So, Robert, you're first.
Sure. All right. So, Robert Joseph. I have been an investor now for 28 years. Started off wholesaling, apparently. It wasn't called wholesaling back then. And so anyhow,
like when wasn't it called wholesaling?
I may have actually came up with that, but it was. So I was a senior in high school when I started off, and I met a guy that was at a mall. He was sitting at a Burger King, if you guys know the Cerritos Mall, and just kind of people watching there with a friend of mine. And he had these flyers out that said, buy houses with no money down. And I thought, well, shit, I have no money. That'd be great. So I said, hey, I want to learn that. That was during, if you remember that was during the time when like Dave Del Dotto and Tommy Boo, and you guys totally aging myself. Right. Books and tapes. So it was I met the guy, and he said, yeah, sure, I'll show you how to do this. He said, hand me the flyer. What I didn't realize is the bond said $2,995. So if you remember being a high school kid, you just don't have $3,000 to just give some guy some books and tapes, right? So I did, and I said, listen, if you show me how to do it, I'll find you some houses. So that's exactly what I did. And he said, show up at 6 a.m. on Saturday, set it up, and we did that. And my day-to-day stuff now, I was in my progression was I did that for a few years. Market, it was 89, 90, 91. It kind of tanked the S&L crisis. Because of that, just like in 2008, you had some opportunity that was created. I got into syndicated apartment buildings and started buying a lot of apartment buildings for less than we can buy a house in Compton now for. And we sold those off, unfortunately, probably too early, but we did well with them. And got into the lending business. Like AJ, I was a hard money lender, and did that for 17 and a half years. So got into trustee sale buying during that time as well. Had some partners, and I think I've been a part of now maybe something between 10 and 12,000 transactions. Oh, now I just kind of, semi-retired, but I'm flipping houses still, and do a decent amount annually, not as many as I used to, but bought into a technology company that we're doing to kind of help predictively figure out which houses are so nice to pay about.
Are you still doing the no money down?
Am I doing it right now? Or like all money down now?
That's a free seminar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool, thank you, Robert. AJ.
Sure. Hi, guys. I'm AJ Mera, CFO at More Financial. My history isn't as extensive and colorful as Robert's. I've been doing it 28 years. I happen to be 28 years old. I'm kidding. I'm not 28 years old. I wish I was. Still feel it, though. 28 at heart. But my business partner and I started our company, More Financial, 10 years ago now. So we've been engaged in hard money lending for some time. I can tell you what we do, but why we really do it is we really set out to kind of embed ourselves within the investor, more like new investor community. We like to educate and see people grow and be a part of that. Yes, we get the opportunity to finance a lot of their transactions, but in the same token, we get to be a part of their transaction succeed and build relationships with them, which is meaningful to us. So, we've been very lucky and had the astute pleasure to work with some of the people in the room and know some of the people on the panel, which is great. That's about it.
Rick. Yes, that was
Dave.
My name's Dave Salzman. I'm also 28 years old.
You mean your shoes are?
So,
28 at home.
Well, which makes it interesting because I bought my first property in 1971, so let's go with the arithmetic on that.
I was born in 1971.
You were? Well, then I beat you on the acquisition side. I got a real estate license in 74, and so I've been at it ever since. I've done 171 renovation or construction projects. We're finishing one up now in West Beach. And I have a real estate brokerage team that we do retail brokerage. But the topic here tonight is flipping houses, and I've done a few. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity. I have a long resume. I'm not going to bore you with it. I already tell how long my resume was. And so I'm going to pass it on to Carol Glover.
Yeah, Carol Glover. I'm the much younger wife of Dave Salzman, so I'm not going to share any more than that. But I'm a real estate attorney. In my law practice, I focus predominantly on commercial real estate transactions, commercial leasing, purchase and sale, and development. In my joint business with Dave, we have a development business, and we have been doing flipping for years. We've been married for 28 years and have been doing flipping pretty much the whole time, and he did it before then. So had a lot of fun doing it, and it's been an interesting ride. So looking forward to talk about it.
Awesome. All right.
My name is Matthew Owens. I was born in '78. So, I quit my real estate, my CPA firm job. I'm a CPA, but I quit my CPA firm job in 2006. So I was a real estate genius for about a year, and then I was an idiot. So I punched in the face a few times right then, but it was absolutely wonderful, given the amount of knowledge that I gained at that time. Since then, we flipped a little bit over 500 houses. We flip about 5 to 10 a month right now. We also do value-add multifamilies, invest in syndications, and other promissory notes. I act a lot like a financial advisor for clients. A lot of clients come to me with 1031s. They need replacement property. I own a management company and a renovation company out in the Memphis, Tennessee market, and one of the four owners of FIBI, which has probably done the most for my business just from the relationships that we develop here. Every single person in the room has resources, whether you know it or not. And so I would suggest everybody hook up with people that have a lot of experience that can help you determine what those resources are and help you get started moving forward and being able to be an investor if you are just getting started, or if you're doing some stuff and want to do more, it's all about the resources and who you can, how much capital you can raise, how much time you have, learning how to find properties. There's a ton of different ways to develop these types of resources. So that being said, I'll hand it over to Dave.
Awesome. My name is David Coe. I'm also in my 30s. I am 3018. That's what I like to tell. So I started in real estate flipping. My wife and I were fixing and flipping, and over the years I've gotten involved in everything from non-performing notes, performing notes, investing passively, even with guys like Matt, investing in syndicated commercial deals. I do have a real estate license, and this is my office. Thank you, and welcome to Keller Williams, Beach Cities. And we cater and working with investors and homeowners here in the South Bay. So for all of us, if anyone's interested in networking with us, please after the meeting come up, grab our card. We'd love to chat more and get to know you as well. So we're going to get started, and the first thing we're going to talk about is obviously we're here to talk about fixing and flipping. So Robert, why don't you talk about some of the some of the more recent flips you've been doing and what areas that you're focused on right now?
Sure. So for myself, I don't go out and search a lot of flips myself. What I do is I kind of create the leads and develop the leads, and then kind of rev share with other people who want to work those sites. Most of the flips I'm doing, I'm probably 50-50 right now, Northern California and Southern California, mostly either LA or Orange County. I tend to not like that really kind of entry level, lower end. I like the, I'll say my favorite price point is between 400 and 800. Although, if I had to look at what I've got right now, I'd say I'm probably heavier than that. I'm probably in that buy at 800 or 900 and sell at $1.2 million. So that's straight fixers for me right now. I'm trying to stay away from the add-ons or the new construction, things on those lines. I like to get in and get out. And I have friends that do those, and they do very well, and they make a lot more money per deal. However, I turn at least 3 deals a year when they're turning 1. And so although they make more money, I feel like the risk exposure at this point in the market, for me, is lessened by being in and out very, very quickly. There was a saying that we came up with in 2008 was you can't sell sticks. Right? If you have a house that's in framing, you got to finish it out. And I was one of those guys finishing out some projects, where you're putting out money and you're not going to see that money again, right? But you have to finish it out to take your loss. And so it was, because the loss was less if you finished it than if you just let it go. And in my case, at the time, I had a lot of friends and family investors. I just kind of decided to finish everything up, take my loss. We wanted to start buying it. So that's kind of where I see it. What I'm buying.
Cool. AJ, talk about the types of stuff that you guys like to lend on and what part of California you live in.
Yeah, sure. So actively right now, we're all over California.
Say it again?
Sorry. We're living all over California.
Robert has. That's, we don't hear him at all. Okay, let's move into John Robert. Sure, blame Robert. It might be on the scene. Yeah, I'm not drinking that.
So yeah, we like lending all through Northern and Southern California. We do tend to stay away from more rural areas, Central California, things of high desert, things of that nature. We have lent areas like Palm Springs and what have you before, but to be very honest with you, I just haven't always been a fan of those. They tend to be a little more transient than we like in their economic kind of structure. So we like to stay in somewhat more metropolitan type areas, but we went all through Northern California, Southern California.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, Carol, where are you guys, where's been your, you said 171, where's been your focus, and what are you guys looking at right now?
Well, we tend to be very geographically discrete, South Bay, Long Beach, this part of our world. I often say I have a several mile-long chain on the back of my car, and I try not to stretch it too far. We found that in our flipping business that staying close to home, knowing values, and working our contacts has been our best both source of deals and our opportunity to dispose of deals at known values. I'm big advocate of my number one rule is that you make all the money when you buy it. And from there on out, if you do it right, then you can absorb a number of things that go wrong on the way and still come out ahead. Doesn't always work out that way. So our primary focus has been from Long Beach to, let's say, Westchester, and working our contacts inside that market.
Carol, what's your like your perfect deal, your average deal, price point, what you're buying for, what you're looking to sell for?
Well, because we're focused in this area, I mean, you know, the last residential project we did, you know, we ended up buying and flipping, and our price was $3.8 million. So we're at a little bit of the higher end, although we just did a couple projects, a couple condos and under in Long Beach that we bought for, you know, around, yeah.
Did you have to get the chain extended, you know, live in Long Beach?
Okay. It was hard for us. No, we didn't.
I didn't move.
Let's just turn his off and then we'll share. Okay.
Whatever.
Or closure imminent.
Robert said the other one off. It's a small room.
Yes.
It's easier without it.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
The condo, 600,000.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Oh, she was talking about, she was talking about the fact that we've done projects where we sold as high as $3.8 million, and also we bought a package of very small units that were in really tough shape in Long Beach, and then flipped those. And so we cover quite the gamut on price, more focused on the geographic area.
And can I just say, one of the reasons we do that, we know what other markets, like Dave grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona, and knows it like the back of his hand. But one thing we've found is that really knowing our marketplace allows us to be a little quicker on the draw and I guess more nimble. I think of one project we looked at a couple years ago that I loved. It was in Westchester. Now, not too far away, right? But we kind of hemmed and hawed, and we really wanted to make sure we nailed our values down in terms of what it was going to sell for on the, you know, when we renovated it. And by the time we hemmed and hawed about it, well, you know, 2, 3, 4 other people had already found out about it because it goes that quick. So that's another reason for me that we focus in this area, because we can, you know, instantly decide, you know, whether it's going to work for us, and then jump on it, because that's kind of critical, especially now.
So it's been hard finding. I think everyone's struggling to find deals right now. Where have you guys been finding deals? What's been, you know, what are maybe some sources you had before that have dried up?
Well, the primary source we had we did a lot of flipping in the early 2000s, and my formula that I used caused me to stop being able to buy in 2006. I call it my pencil. And because it wasn't that I was precognitive or something, it's just that I couldn't get the deals to pencil anymore the way that my formula works. And so we stopped buying. And we sold everything off by about the middle of 2007. It turned out to be stunningly good timing. It had absolutely nothing to do with my judgment and only had to do with my pencil. Okay? So we didn't start again until late 2010, and at that time, the primary source was MLS or agents or someone that probably would be sitting on the market and nobody would buy them. You know, probably everybody was back then, right? So we progressed from there to, I've always had a campaign of soliciting by mail owners of properties that look like they're kind of rough. That paid off. And then our primary source until a few years ago has been the agents that would call us because of our track record, right? So that's been an outstanding source. What we're doing now, we found it to be incredibly challenging to find properties that make economic sense on the buy side. I was telling Carol that I'd tell you that I decided to stop shaving until I found a deal that made sense. That I could acquire. I didn't really think it would go this long.
How many times has Carol heard that joke?
Yeah. I think this is the second time.
Actually, tonight, that was a new one. I appreciate the new joke.
I came up with it just for you. It's really not true. I stopped shaving because of ski season. But it's a good line. And it's indicative of how hard it has been to find projects lately that make sense. And so I'm finding my pencil is keeping us from being as active as we were before. In this market, right, there are other markets, and hopefully you're involved in other markets where it will be less difficult. But in this market, there's been a tremendous focus of other parties who come from the outside who are paying prices that my pencil won't let me pay, so I got it. So I'm kind of in the same position I was in 2006.
Robert, you mentioned that you have like almost like a team, resources you built out. Give us a little more color on what that looks like and how they're sharing deals with you.
So, after having left the hard money business, when I left, I think we had 93 employees. And if you've ever had a lot of employees, there's just this whole other drama set that comes with having that many employees. And I decided at this stage of my life, I didn't really want to have another 100 employees. So how do I figure out a system where I can be a benefit and utilize my knowledge and help be a part of more transactions? And so that's kind of what I did now is so team-wise, it's comprised of essentially people like you that want to find deals, and I spend my time, I'm going to call it semi-mentoring or saying, hey, this is what you do. And then when you find a deal, rather than, like a lot of the gurus that are out there that charge X amount of dollars, if you find a deal and you do money, then hopefully you think of me first, and I'll put up the money and then just put the profits with them. So that's where most of my deals come from now. And we do have some campaigns that go direct to seller. I think that's really important if you're doing this, whether it's mailers, door knocking, or on the internet, which is a great resource, that you have some of that. And a lot of it is just, I think for me, is just being patient. And so when things don't work out, and I remember this hasn't quite started to happen yet, but I can see it starting to happen in the next, let's say, year, is where they don't accept your offer now, and then later on in the year, the prices increase slightly, and then it makes it worth buying. And so if you think about your normal life, in your everyday life, a year passes by. For those of you that have kids, know exactly how quick that passes by, right? And so, you could have talked to someone, or I could have spoken to someone, and I remember this, in like 2002, 2003, happening a lot, was we would speak to someone, and they would just say, no, I want X amount of dollars. And the market would go up 3% a month back then, right? Or 2003, I guess. And we called back 6 months later, and we picked up 12% or 18% of extra equity, and they're thinking like, oh yeah, he just called me last week. And then they'll sell you the house for the price that they had pre-negotiated because they had done all the work, and they didn't necessarily realize that the market went up. So direct to homeowner is a very, very good technique. Networking, he mentioned up front, if you leave early, you miss like all the fun of this. And it's for me, I've always implored networking as being part of it. And I think that you get as much out of the business as you put into it. I think that's a very, very key part. But networking with everyone who's here is, there's Facebook, there's email campaigns, and every other way to market, but nothing beats shaking someone's hand and getting to know them. And that's still what I would say the core focus of my business is, and how I'm kind of getting deals.
AJ, for the stuff you guys are lending on, how are your lenders, your borrowers finding deals these days? Any exposure on that?
Yeah, we have seen a little bit of a shift. I mean, for us, I'm still seeing a lot of my clients that we've been working with. We've had a very strong following over the last few years, and they've built a lot of tight-knit relationships and things of that nature. So they've got contacts in that regard, which I'm sure you guys have kind of gathered now, especially if you're new coming in. It almost feels a little clicky when you're getting into looking for properties, where there's a lot of pocket deals and things of that nature. It's very hard to compete, so to say, right? People have their agents that they still get some fantastic properties from. But I am seeing we have been doing a lot more, I should say, probate type transactions. I'm sure you guys have been hearing a lot of buzz about that lately. It's been coming about. We've had the opportunity to work with, Kevin, you're back here. Kevin talks a lot and educates on probate. So we've worked with some of his people that have come out of his thing. You know, it's really great when people are following a little bit of a different path. It's unknown to many and a little more complicated, so it keeps, I guess, the barrier to entry a little bit lower. So the people that are following that, we're doing a lot more deals on that type, and they are getting some really fantastic purchase prices, and again, buying right on that. But it does take work, and you know, for the people that we had worked with, probably 2015, 2016, it's become harder to find a good deal. And either they did very well for some time and felt that it was a good time for them to take a sideline on that, or they get a little overzealous, a little over-aggressive, and overpaid because it's a little harder to find a good deal. And at that point, I think you're kind of DOA. So you got to be very, very, very careful not to have FOMO, so to say, and just buy a property. We do see people that will present us deals that really the numbers are just horrific on the front end. I mean, really bad on the front side. So yeah, what we're seeing with people that are doing now, our borrowers that have their connections are still doing well on the level that they're at, but we're seeing newer tons of new borrowers that are going the more probate route and getting a little bit more creative. We're not going direct to, direct to sell. And there's quite a few baby boomers out there that are also non-resident.
Who here is flipping a property right now? Tell me where you found the deal.
San Pedro and network there.
Network? Okay. What do we tell Steve?
Direct marketing.
Direct marketing. Anybody else?
JJ.
JJ? Hi, JJ.
Yeah, from networking, but this was from back in, I've known this person since 2009, but
Okay. So long-term networking paid off.
yeah.
They usually do.
Well, yeah.
But it was from one of these meetings, though, so we initially met, so that was great.
So do we get a referral?
Commission.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. It was too easy. So
We
you
get
guys.
a write-off if we get you one?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you do. Yes. No problem. So you can see the power of networking. And I know there's another girl named Christy Sirtwell that also does a lot of flipping in Long Beach, and she does a lot of her stuff directly from networking and relationships and that type of thing. So you can get deals that way. I happen to agree with Robert a lot on the direct mail and direct and pay-by-click marketing and direct to seller marketing. But it takes a lot too to learn that, especially if you're here in California. You're probably looking at about a 0.5% response rate on direct mail, and so you have to send out a lot of mailers, and you have to look at what that cost is going to cost you per deal and build that into the deal. We have a whole analytics system set up where we track every call that comes in. It's all done through a tracking software. We have guys in the Philippines answering the phones for us all day long, doing nothing but that. And so it really does take a lot. And in the beginning, we really sucked at it really badly. And then you learn hard lessons, and you push through, and then you start to tweak and tweak and tweak until you finally get the right formula. And we even took our guys to sales training, because you've never been on the phone before. How do you know what to say or what not to say? You realize really quickly that the buying process and the selling process don't match up correctly. And so once you go through different sales trainings, you realize what you should be saying and the key pain points and how to figure out and learn information. So I think all that is extremely important on finding that deal, which is probably the hardest part right now. Back in the REO days, they were plentiful, but at the same time, you had to sell them for under market to get them done too. So there's a lot of changes in this market, but a lot of this comes down to resources, like I said, on the direct mail side and learning these strategies, but also, nowadays it's important to find good capital sources as well. And so I wanted to find out from you guys, and AJ, how do your lenders or how do your borrowers find their money? And in reality, how do do you fund those deals as well? It's kind of interesting coming from a professional lender like yourself to understand how are you funding those deals and how do you get your wealth of capital sources?
Sure. Oddly enough, what's funny is we've been doing a lot more transactions where people bring on a gap funder. That gap funder usually tends to be somebody who cannot find a property. They're sitting on money and they say, hey, let's team up. So oddly enough, coming up and teaming up with people because one may have the capital, couldn't find a deal, but want to be involved. We are seeing people that are raising capital, cheaper, or they're going into deals together and partnering in different ways. But there are a lot of frustrated investors that have the capital that can't find a deal. Yes?
How do you structure that? If you say you're a realtor and you have somebody that has money that wants to do that, how do you structure it in a way that protects them, protects you, and helps everybody win-win?
Typically the way we see it is they'll write a second trustee and report it against the property.
Okay.
Just a personal thing, I'm not big on partnership agreements or joint ventures.
Right.
Be very careful with that word,
Right.
joint venture, that can get you in a lot of trouble.
I like to sleep at night.
Yeah, I'm very cut and dry with certain things like that, and I think you just, you have to keep it very clean and simple. I've seen some very complex.
SEC rules and things like that associated with that, you gotta be really careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll chime in. If you're starting out, you structure it however they want, if you want to.
Well, and I'm not saying I don't want any, but they're pretty equal.
Yeah, but then, so you have to look at, I look at relationships that I've had, and I have some relationships that go back 20, 25 years. And, I've, here, this person's I'm not going to mention their name, but I know someone who, they've been in business for a long time, and in having seen some transactions that he's done and asked for some help, I noticed that he didn't have any long-term relationships. And I'd be very weary of someone who doesn't have any long-term relationships, because just like a personal relationship, if you're just taking, it's not going to last. And so you have to really find, I hate this term just because it's, I think a little yeah, but if you don't have a win-win relationship,
Right.
it's just not going to last. And there's scenarios that happen very often where you have to take off your green hat and think long-term. And so, I like long-term. I like doing business with the people I like doing business with, and if I don't like doing business with them because I can't sit down and just have a nice conversation with them that's pleasant, then I just, I ought not to do that. So if you're really far apart and he's considering putting up the money, chances are there's at least, one other person in this world that would put up the money to. And I would seek out them. And I will tell you that if you have a good deal, there is a lot of money out there.
They're probably in this room right now.
Yeah, they're
Including here.
money is very easy to find. It's not like, it was a long time ago. There's a lot of money right now. And that's probably the easiest asset to kind of figure and find. With regards to deals that are out there, there's a lot of deals out there. They are more difficult to find. If you just look at lenders like him, my old company, Genesis is a big one, Lending Home. I know Anchor is doing over $1 billion a year. Genesis does the same, over $1 billion a year. I don't know what your numbers are, but you've got, if you've got every lender that does, between the small guys might be doing 50, the big guys are doing 200, and then you got the larger guys. Just divide that up by the average deal. That's a lot of transactions every single month happening in your backyard. So figuring out how to pipe into those, I think, is the key part.
I think it's really important to understand what the attributes of a good lender are in the first place, and that's someone that will tell you that you have a bad deal. Someone that's going to show you, if you bring them a deal, they're like, don't do it, you're going to lose your money. And that's why I like, utilize AJ quite a bit for my clients when I send them over to him, because he'll tell them, especially if they're green and new, not to do that deal, because he's not going to fund it, and he's going to go, well, you're just going to lose your money. And I think...
And his money.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But believe it or not, it's one of those things where as a lender, we're going to lend on a certain protective equity amount, right? But if our clients lose, it's a lose-lose. It's foolish. It makes absolutely no sense because we lose the client.
Even if you're protected, that's the last time they're going to do a deal for a while.
You got it. Yeah, we don't want to see that happen.
And I think it's important to understand if you're raising capital or trying to look for private lenders or professional lenders, the way that you have them lend you money is you teach them, if they're new and not professional lenders, you have to teach them how they're protected, teach them how the paperwork works, how they get secured against the property, you know, and how they're protected in every way, shape, or form. If they're a professional lender, you have to be able to teach them about your deal and teach them every piece of it, and so that they understand. You know, a lot of them can get it very quick, much more quickly, but at the same time, maybe there's some nuances about the deal or some special relationships you have, or you're a realtor yourself, so you can sell that property and cut out those costs, and so therefore you're making a little bit more money than is on the outside of it. So I think all of that is important. What about you guys? Dave, Carol, how do you guys raise your capital for these deals?
Well, I mean,
She's like, we got all our own money. Sorry.
I wish.
Well, okay, you're doing it in some of the higher end areas, so.
Well, when we started up again in 2010, you know, we rolled it up small and we went with a friends and family program, and because a lot of people were still nervous about the marketplace, so we started small and we've just developed and rolled up our investor base based on word of mouth. We are pretty consistent with our product and our relationships, our communication, and we are transparent, and we just don't mess around. And we consistently come up with a good product, and they kept trusting, and they kept, you know, doing well in our deals, and they've stuck with us. So we also have a lender relationship who also knows our marketplace, and so we can call him up and say, look, we want to jump into this deal. And again, he knows the market, knows his own backyard, and knows us and knows the numbers. And so it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick.
We have to say we're very local, and therefore people that we deal with know the marketplace and also know our track record. I'm imagining many of you are very early in your career, or perhaps have yet to do a project. And so a couple of thoughts looking back at starting. One of them is grab a great lender who understands the type of thing you're trying to do and sell them your project first. Okay, if you can't sell it to the lender, you should walk away. Okay. Next, friends and family is a great way to start with money because, you know, they'll help, right? And if you talk to them after you talk to some maybe good looking but still hard-shelled with a lot of bark on a lender, right? and you got that guy to say it could work. Then you can bring your friends and family into the conference, right? So that's the steps that I would take. And then there was a question earlier about how do we protect the investors and so on. Our structures, we have an LLC, we buy an LLC, we put the lender loan to the LLC, but of course we sign personally. And then we bring our investors in as secondary lenders. And the primary reason for that, well, there's two reasons. One, we maintain 100% control, okay? And you cannot have somebody who doesn't know what they're doing be in a position to tell you what to do, right? That's the death knell, okay? You have to be able to captain your own ship and let everybody else follow your commands, right? Whether you're a good captain or not, guaranteed failure if there's a committee, okay? And then the second reason is many of our investors are very deep pockets persons, and if they're on title and there's a slip and fall, a death, a lawsuit, or whatever, they're going to go after those people. Whereas if they're lenders, they're protected by the lenders' rules and so on with third parties. So that's the reason we structure now.
There's an added benefit about, because that's what Dave said, if you do structure it that way with having the lender, and let's say even if you're buying cash, you should always have an entity that is the lending arm to your other company, which is the flipping arm. Because just like he said, the slip and fall is very important. More likely that would happen is the contractor gets hurt, right? I've had someone lost their eye on one of our job sites that was a contractor, and you know, aside that, insurance covers some of that, but just in case something happens and they want to sue you and tie up property, that's a situation that becomes monetary, that you can foreclose off, because it's between the seller and that party, and regain control of that property, and then, sell it off and get your money out of it. So even as cash, I think that you should protect yourself, and spend a little bit extra, but just have that cash protected.
So what he's talking about is basically equity stripping, right? Where you're in a degree, where you're basically having another lender come in that you control and own, come in and put a lien against your property, right? To that degree, so that way you can protect your current equity in that deal. And keep in mind, we're not up here telling you guys go out and raise all the money in the world. There's a lot of issues with that, with raising capital from private investors. And you have to realize whenever you're raising money, that this is people's life. People are trading their time for this. So if you lose someone's 30,000 or someone's 100,000 or more, that is years of their life that they can't get back. You may be able to make it back by flipping more houses and doing more, but if you lose their money, that's a big, big problem. So be very careful on that side, Tim.
Matt, I have a question. Did you set up a separate entity for each deal? Like, for instance, you have LLC 1 that does one house, or do you have LLC Basic that may have 20 houses under the same umbrella?
If you're asking me, we use a single LLC unless we have a really major project. And the reason is because of the accounting and legal overhead, even though my partner is a real estate attorney.
I charge a lot.
Very expensive, although not necessarily from the checkbook.
I love the eye roll. The eye roll is funny. I get that eye roll all the time.
So the answer to your question is, when we do new construction, it's always a standalone LLC because the lenders are involved and so on. If we do a very large project like we're doing 4,900 feet of retail in Hermosa Beach right now, we will have, but when we do these single families, we tend to run both through the same LLC.
Is there a way to segregate that within the LLC, or are you just kind of bundled into the same LLC? Let's say it loans out to 10 homes. Are you still under one LLC, or can you segregate that under a single?
You should talk to a lawyer about that, but there is a structure within LLCs. They're called a waterfall, and you start with one and you can cascade down into a bunch of other LLCs. But that's a much longer conversation, and whether that's worth it as compared to just forming a new one every time you do a project, that just depends.
Thank you.
Question?
On your larger end single-family projects, how long will you take to start to build?
Way longer than we ever figured. Okay, the last one we did, the major one, I anticipated it would take us a year, and I thought it would be conservative. It ended up taking 16 months. The primary difference between today and a few years ago, for example, when we did a 2010 project, we were able to stand at the counter at the city with the architect, the builder, and me, and Public Works, building, and planning on the other side, lay the plans out. Six of us would stand there, architect would redraw it, stamp, bam, 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 stamp out the door. An hour. Okay? The last project we're doing in Hermosa Beach, it took us 9 months to get our plans started. Okay? 9 months. Okay, so the reason is the cities won't fire anybody, so when there's no business, everybody's standing around with nothing to do, right? And they're more than happy up here busy, okay? And then when it's really busy, they won't hire anybody, and so everybody's just overwhelmed, and they send everything out to engineering companies who are also overwhelmed. Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've read that you find a deal, you'll find money to do it. You guys reiterated that. But so you find a deal, what do you do to keep the person that you're going for the lending from just taking the deal?
So the question is if you find a deal, and then how do you protect the deal so someone you go and approach doesn't steal the deal from you? Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, the first thing you should do before you take the deal to anyone is get it under contract. Because if you don't have it under contract, you have nothing. You have zero. Right? And so at the point that you have it under contract, they can't go around you because the seller then has a legal obligation to sell it to you. And if they do, you can sue and you can tie it up.
Like when you say contract, is like an option or what?
No, just if you have a purchase contract with a long enough, let's say, inspection period, and if you're writing contracts I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I've seen contracts, and it's like appraisal contingency, loan contingency. You need one contingency. Don't overcomplicate it to make it sound like you're putting one doubt. There's no reason to put like 10 doubts in a month, right? And so you only need one reason to get out. The inspection contingency is the easiest one, because you can quite simply say, I walked through, I saw this, I didn't like it, I'm out. And once you have it under contract, get as long of an inspection period as you can. You know, if you're dealing directly with the seller, they don't usually see that as a, this is a big, a big issue. If you're dealing with an agent and it's on the MLS, they're going to get, if you get 5 days on a good deal, you're really lucky. So that's, but you then go after the money. Plus the other thing is you don't really want to go towards the money until you have something, because let's say you sell one, it's fantastic, and then you don't get the deal. You just wasted their time. And so it's kind of like playing wolf, right? So then you've lost credibility when you say, hey, I've got this deal, and you don't.
Carol, any other advice as an attorney on that?
In terms of tying up the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to. I mean, that's what, like I mentioned earlier, that's the deal in Westchester. We waited too long, we didn't get under contract, and then we could have thought about, we could have done more research. It was just a new market to us. So give yourself enough time in the contract to do your due diligence in a short amount of time. If you are dealing with somebody who really is aware or sensitive to that, it is going to be a short time period. You just gotta move fast. I mean, you certainly want to set up and know who you're going to approach. You can't start doing everything from ground zero, but get your relationships and network and find people that seem like a reasonable bet and that will do business with you, and then you just gotta go for it.
One thought on that, we have a relationship with our lender such that he will commit to lending 100% of our purchase price. The fee for that is pretty high, but what it really is a standby commitment. So if you can arrange something like that, then you can make an all-cash offer, right? If you know your numbers, and you can convince your lender to make a backup commitment for the full purchase price or for whatever cash left you got, right? Then you can go all out without having to wait for your investors to get sold on the deal. But the only time you ever want to do that is if you really know your numbers, because you're committed to buying at that point and you don't necessarily have your investment capital lined up. But if you can break the link between the two, then it makes your process a whole lot easier, right? What our lender is counting on us to bring investors to the table to take it to the point where he never really had to perform on 100% commitment, right? It's just more of a backup so that we can show that we're an all-cash buyer.
I would also urge you guys to, as you're looking for your deals, if you don't have the capital lined up, go to the different private lenders that you know, professional and private, and get an understanding of what they will lend, what kind of loan to value they'll lend, what their rates and terms are, and then also the second mortgages, if you have to have a second mortgage, if you don't have the cash yourself, those other private lenders that will be able to lend you money and what capital they have and what rates they have in terms, so that you can build it into your model and know what your numbers are up front. So when you're analyzing deal after deal and trying to make offers on deal after deal, you already know your financing numbers in place. You already have to know those things. It's hard enough to pinpoint the market value in the rehab bid without having to deal with not knowing what your financing costs are going to be and where you're going to get the money right away. So line those things up, develop those relationships now before you have those deals under contract.
Yeah, well, one more thing to add, then we'll go here, then we'll go here. Also, you can we talked about bringing a deal to a lender. You can also bring yourself to a lender and get pre-qualified, even at private money. Yeah. We actually just sent someone to Moore last week, and we got them pre-qualified, and that was a kind of a broad look at their financing, what kind of capital they had in place, where they were planning on getting the capital. Getting that pre-qual letter was important before we started writing deals as an agent, but it was also important for that particular person to make sure that they didn't get too far ahead of themselves and maybe start making promises that they couldn't cash.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Yeah.
Is that, if you're concerned about someone taking the deal with you from you, then you just shouldn't deal with that person. It's the reality, right? Because this is part of networking and just getting to know people, is that you've got to feel comfortable. And at the end of the day, if you're just starting out, I don't know what your situation is, but if you're concerned about that and you don't have a deal yet, and you finally found a deal, you've got nothing to lose, because either they're going to put up the money or you're not going to do the deal if you're only talking about one person anyhow. And if that's the case, go for it. Even if they take the deal, now you know not to deal with it.
And you know that you found a good deal.
Right.
So you're going to be more confident next time.
They wouldn't steal a shitty deal, right?
Half full, half empty.
One question, like you guys mentioned the deal that you delayed your feet on. For the after February ones, David, you could do this, because I know you go too. You guys are in certain areas. Do you study those markets? Like, how long does it take if you guys go to a new area, or if you guys go to a new area, to study a market to go into that?
So the question is how long, if you're going to move into an area that you're not very familiar with, how long does it take to study it? Well, I think what Dave and Carol would say is they just stick to their own backyard because they don't have to study it, right? Obviously, Robert's up and down the state, everywhere, and of course, same thing with AJ, they know everywhere. I would say from my perspective, like, you could probably do a pretty thorough understanding of a market in a couple of hours, right? Pulling comps and looking at it. But that's going to give you a sense of maybe what it's worth right now. Understanding what it's worth, after the renovation is done could take a long time, and that's where you do take on a bit more risk. These guys don't like doing that. They like to know right away because they can move quickly. So I think if you are in an area that you're not very familiar with, it's certainly one where you want to give yourself a little more time so you're not rushing and making a mistake.
Yeah,
Well, also to that, if we, like the Long Beach, I knew Long Beach kind of, but not really, so we did those deals in Long Beach. We did the research, we ran all the comps, we, looked at it backwards and forwards, and then we actually just drove down there, and we just walked the neighborhoods. And then I talked to a bunch of people who I know who are agents in that neighborhood, and I got, I know them enough to trust them. I told them what the deal was and where it was and what the situation was, and I got comps from, several realtors that I trust who were not going to go behind me, and that was my checkpoint. So I came full circle. Look at my own MLS, physically going to the property, checking with other realtors, having them do the MLS research, and come back and tell me whether I was right.
The whole idea of driving the comps, to me, is the most important way to really get a sense of the neighborhood, because you can feel when the house that you're looking at as a comp is different than the house you're thinking of buying. Your eyes will tell you that. So there's a lot you can get online, but especially if it's an area you're not familiar with, you've got to go spend time and physically look at properties.
I call it boots on the ground. You cannot price properties from, Google Maps. Even though you can see pictures, it's just there's no way you can do it and be confident. You have to actually walk up the driveway. And walk up the driveway so a number of other properties really become familiar. My thought is that I wouldn't try to, if I was starting, and I still feel this philosophy, is to understand some area well, right? A reasonable market that's reasonably large enough that you're going to have a reasonable opportunity to do see a reasonable number of deals, and then go to open houses in that area and meet realtors, okay? Because realtors will spill their guts for you at the opportunity to think they might be able to list a property. It's free. Right? And you might
Spoken from a realtor, for Christ's sake.
And you might even get a sandwich or something too. And so, use that resource because they're knowledgeable and they want the commission, right? And most of them don't want to buy the deal, they don't have the money to buy the deal, but they do want the commission. They're more than happy to think of you as an investor, and they'll tell you, everything you need to know for free.
I think it's really important, and all that stuff is important about the property in itself. But doing an economic analysis on the area specifically, as well as how many properties are coming on the market in that area, how long are they taking to sell in that specific submarket? What has happened to the housing price index in the last 5 years? What happened to that market in the last crash too? So that you can understand, okay, if we do have a crash and we have a downtick of 5%, maybe I'm okay, but maybe this market crashed by 20% last time. maybe you're in the Riverside area and it has more volatility or something. You know, you want to understand those things and know what's happening in a specific market. What if certain people are moving out of that market and it's becoming, you know, less and less desirable over a period of time? There's things like that that you have to understand when you're exploring the new market and understanding, you know, the demographics of the market.
Yeah, I think there's one other thing too. When you have that, when you're trying to value, a big part of it is what to do to the property. And if you talk to the agents, I can't tell you how many times when I was a lender that you got to have a checklist on value so that you hit every single point. It's, you know, Google Maps, it's then driving the comps, talking to agents. My personal feeling is you should talk to no less than 3 like solid agents that give you a consensus about what that value is. You get 2 that agree and 1 that disagrees, call another. Because the reality is these 2 might be wrong because that guy was the market expert, right? And find a consensus of 3. I don't think I've ever gone wrong when I've done that. And more importantly, what happens is they tell you, hey, listen, you've got to do this to it. You've got to do this. Or, hey, why are you going to spend all that money right now? It's so hot, you realize you'll be the old, like I had a house in Orinda. I would have literally been in the entire city of Orinda, one of 3 listings that I just threw it on the market. I was getting ready to spend a ton of money on it, and they're like, yeah, you don't have to. If somebody wants to live in Orinda, it's your house and these other ones. That was it. And we just happened, it was an off-market deal, never hit the market. And so we threw it up, and we're like, wow, can't say no to that. And so, but the agents that are the agents that are working that area, the guys that have, you know, their face on the shopping cart and everything, those are the guys that know those particular markets. And aside from the value, like don't just focus on the value. There's a lot more to the deal than just the value. Is focus on like, you know, inventory levels, and this should be part of your valuation checklist. It's just, okay, you Google drove it. You Google drove the comps. It looks great, great. That's 20 minutes, right? You figured out a value super quick. Then from there, if it still looks like it's something, then you take it into the next step, which is for me, is either going to see it, if we have to, you know, what we call slamming the door on a deal, if it looks like it's competitive and there's other people there, we're going to go in and actually like see the property before we've got it, so we can just write a non-contingent offer, get in there, and essentially close the door on the competition. So we don't try to get it super cheap. We just try to get it at the number that makes sense for us so that it makes sense, we close it, and hopefully beat out the guys that would all outbid us. And once you do that, I think you've got a pretty good foundation for at least, you know, the feedback, track it all, but the checklist is key.
Robert, you have a question?
It's kind of a 2-part question. When you're writing your offer, you're using a hard money lender. Do you have money in the bank that you're using for proof of funds, or are you using part of the hard money lender kind of form that says it's financing? And with that, if you are using that, have you noticed a lot of pushback from agents right now saying it's not a true cash offer, it's more of a finance because it is appraisal contingent and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I'll answer the first half of that. We just want proof of funds, right? As long as there's some connective tissue between you and whoever that proof of funds, that name is under, as long as there's a good story there, that usually will suffice. As far as your second part is you're saying from the other side, again, as long as there's a connection there, if you just pull some random proof of, you know, bank account from someone and there's no story as to how that person's connected to your deal, you're going to have a problem. But somehow, if there's a story there, if there's a believable connection there, then generally it's not a problem. Yeah.
So, Dave, you said in 2005 or 6 you couldn't get your deals to pencil anymore, and you're sort of in that same place now. Not just because the prices are too bubbly.
It's probably because I'm too conservative. Okay, my concerns are that I want to know that I bought the property at the right price so I can get out the other end. Okay, otherwise, because I don't like working for free or worse, working for a loss. So I probably left some money on the table on deals that could have been marginally successful, right, by not doing them. But my formula is that I want to be in when I'm done with both the purchase, the financing, and the renovation. I want to be in at a number where I know I can get out and have made my numbers 10% margin of the gross sale price. Okay, I like to have a 5% safety valve, and I always price 5% cost of sale, so I need to be in 80 when I'm done. Okay? That's my pencil. And so what I do is have a, remember we're working in our own backyard, so we have a pretty good handle on what the property would be worth done, okay, at least in our opinion, and you can pretty much back it up from there. You got to know what your budget's going to be for your renovation, of course, and so the purchase price will vary based on how much the budget is, right? But for renovation, but that's essentially the formula. I mean, it's not a very complicated formula. And so I'll say that I just had one where we figured we could pay $1.2 million for the property, that was as far as we could go. Well, the property ended up selling for $1,540,000. Okay, now I don't know how the guy that bought that's going to make any money, but on the other hand, ADO's to my offer.
That's why it's important to do the direct to seller marketing. Learn the marketing side. I don't care if you're spending hardly anything on it right now. Learn that aspect, because that's what will keep that deal flow coming consistently. Because I guarantee there's guys in Manhattan and South Bay and things like that if you were able to go to them directly, you could negotiate the right deal, because it's all about the pain points. Do they want to deal with selling commissions on the back end? They want to deal with contingencies on, the inspection report. There's a lot of pain points. Do they need to move immediately? Need the cash right now? Do they not have any money to move? And so, or there's their loan too close to where they need to sell it for, so they wouldn't be able to get out of it. Right now, a lot of the loans from 2006 and 2007 at the top of the market that got taken out. Maybe right now they're finally at the point where they can actually get out of those things and pay down for a period of time. So, but there's always a reason. There's always the 4 Ds, or the debt, divorce, whatever the last 2 Ds are.
I just had this situation. A person came to me as an attorney because they wanted me to review the contract from a builder, and I know, it's a small town. I know the builder. I know the person that brought him the property, and I looked at the price that was being offered, and as with my attorney hat on, I had to almost I tried to convince them, to take it to market. It's like, I know about 3 or 4 more builders who you could, shop this for and get it out there, because I think you could do better than this. And you know what? They didn't want to. This person wanted to get out at a certain time. They were happy enough with the number, and they just wanted to know it was a clean deal. To which I responded, I really like that. And so they're out there, but with my lawyer hat on, that was the deal. But I tried my hardest to convince this person to take it out to the market, and they're not interested in that. So they're out there.
I find many people who are basically don't want the neighbors to see the condition of their property or see the conditions that they're living in. That's really, and they'll do an off-market deal just to avoid public scrutiny. That can happen both because the property is in terrible condition, or also can happen because of their financial situation, bankruptcy or serious financial distress, and they don't want the aura, to be ruptured in the neighborhood and so on. So those opportunities, we really do help people in that respect, and you can essentially buy a wholesale price because they needed a wholesale deal. They couldn't go retail, right? And you couldn't have a realtor serving sandwiches on Friday afternoon in the place, with cut flowers and all that. It just wasn't going to work, right? So those are some great opportunities.
I think it's really important also to be creative in this kind of a market. A lot of homeowners may not be interested in selling to you at what you need to buy it for. However, if you go to them and say, look, okay, I have the rehab money to go put up the deal. Maybe they don't have capital, and you have the rehab money to go put up the deal. You can say, okay, we'll give you this baseline price, and anything, I'm going to put the capital into it for the rehab, and so we'll sell it for this price, and we'll split the profits in that way. It's a lot less risk for you as the flipper. Now you've been creative, you've helped them out of a situation, so it's all a matter of solving those pain points as best you can.
Steve.
Yeah, so a lot of good stuff about focusing locally. I love that. I'm, building and flipping out in North Carolina, so I know a lot of you guys, I know you're out of state, but what does your magic calculator do? Is that only for California? I know you can build something specific for
Yeah,
you.
you know,
Just curious what it says about the market here and across the nation.
When the market had downturn, we've invested a lot of bank money here and invested in Texas, which was a more stable market. So I moved out to Texas for a little bit. I will say that and from there we were doing several other states as well. And you know, the rules for the checklist on valuation apply anywhere, and you will figure out the value in the market if you have the right checklist. I personally don't like a lot of absentee ownership. The Northern California stuff for me is okay because it literally, I live in Irvine, and it literally takes me as long to get to like either Oakland or SFO as it does to drive to LA because my time, so it's a very quick flight, and I'm in and out that same day. I don't really spend the night except for rare occasions. I may start doing Arizona and Vegas, which are other markets. Have to study it a little bit more, but I look for places that I can get in and out of very, very quickly.
It's not quite a 6-hour flight like this.
Not yet. So it's but I wouldn't recommend that if you're starting out. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. Stay away from add-ons, new construction, because the other aspect that we haven't really talked a lot about is you've got the basis of the business is super easy, right? Buy low, sell high. No genius, you got it. In between, there's that rehab side, right? And if you don't know what you're doing on the rehab side, and you don't know how to judge your contractors and kind of be able to figure out what it is that they're charging you for, and that they know how to do that, and that they're actually billing you correctly, the worst case scenario in any type of rehab that I see all the time happen is where people underestimate the rehab value, right? Or the rehab cost. And they've got a contractor that says, yeah, I can do this for this much. And unless you've detailed it out, I'm thinking $600 fixture. He's thinking $60 fixture, right? And your finished product is directly reflective as to what you're going to get for that house. So you have to sell that vision to that buyer. And for most of my houses that we fully rehab, I'm not selling the rehab house. I'm selling the lifestyle that goes along with that house. So I do garden boxes, vegetable boxes, and it's geared towards this whole kind of millennial lifestyle where it's healthy and organic, and even if if that garden's going to die in a month, right? When they're walking through, I know that if at the open houses people are just congregating, they don't want to leave, that's done. We're getting offers that way. And so it's that you got to hone in on that construction side and learn it pretty well, because the biggest thing is it's like I said, the devil's in the details.
So I'm curious to take one step back from the getting started mentality of figuring out the numbers and doing that, and more towards the market itself. So like in California specifically, obviously it doesn't apply to North Carolina or anywhere else.
Right.
But in California specifically, what are you seeing from the market perspective, and how do you feel about it personally? Maybe we can hear from some other folks.
Sure. For me, in California, I like the bread and butter areas of most neighborhoods. What I mean by that is I don't like to be, I want to do a house where I'm the highest price point in that area because it's larger square footage or a larger lot. I don't like to be king of the hill because I've gotten killed before with that. And, I think that the important thing is to understand that market. And so every single deal I do, I talk to local agencies, find out what's going on. Like, I'll give you an example. We're hitting spring season. You think spring's fantastic everywhere, right? Especially, like, you look at beach communities. Newport, they do better in winter. Palm Springs does better in winter. And because all the Canadians come down that are snowbirds, and they buy more during the winter than they do during spring. And so the market tightens up. That was a lesson I learned that I didn't know. And I'm looking at it like, all right, well, so if you're doing a flip in Newport right now, you're looking at okay, you're exiting the hot season, right? Palm Springs, you're losing, you're now going, Palm Springs is 120, right? I mean, it is, you look at markets, for me, I like low inventory areas. So, I think we're closing on one either tomorrow or Friday. It's in Culver City. And I looked at that area and I looked at it, all right, pretty good deal. I think it's okay as a flip, but I know that there's an exit already to just put it right back on the market. And because in that little area, there's just not a lot of inventory because Snapchat went public and every employee is now a millionaire and they're buying up everything. And so we got it. I'm like, all right, I was telling Laura, one of the brokers, that she sells the stuff. And said, let's throw it. Let's see what happens.
AJ, what's your thought on California right now?
Well, I think that, I think it's definitely various pockets. And understanding, I'm really, really big on analytics and demographics. So every area, especially California, has always been a little bit of an anomaly market, right? Especially as you have all these tech companies coming out. Venice blew up because Facebook, all these guys went out and created Silicon Beach and all this hoo-ha. There are parts of like Fontana that exploded because Amazon built some big packaging center out there and hired a bunch of jobs. So I'm very big on, yes, following the analytics and looking at the demographics of where things are going. Jobs are always going to theoretically create stability. Areas that usually plummeted tend to be the ones that were a little more transient and fickle, almost, with their buyer mindset. When you stay close to, even in the worst of the downturn, I don't know, or I could safely say that Westwood tanked. Right? So, in essence, you want to, for us, what I see is that those pockets in California that are, again, speculatively going up, right? They're going to get hurt. There's going to be a psychological correction before I see there being an actual, and we're probably already in it right now. I read some article in the Wall Street Journal that said millennials are afraid that they'll never be able to buy a house in California. I look at that two ways. I look at that and go, wow, that's probably going to be what brings housing values down when those millennials are 35 or 33, right? There's a seller for every buyer. And if they freak out because they can't sell, what are they going to do? They might drop values. But then again, there's people flooding California all the time. Who doesn't want to live in Illinois, right? It's one of those things. New York has like 80 inches or 8 inches of snow or something god-awful like that, and we're wearing shorts. So
Millennials say that until their IPO goes live.
Then they buy a house. IPO's going to hit, or they're going to go completely broke.
We do have a demographics problem though as well with jobs. A lot of the higher paying, wealthiest people are leaving California because of the tax rate and the economic environment here. It's one of the most expensive states to do business in. At the same time, you have a lot of lower paying jobs coming in and being formed. And so, are they going to be able to afford these higher priced homes, or is it going to be more of a renter type community? So there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be occurring, just a matter of what happens. And this is just my opinion on this.
If you look at what Matt just said and dissect that into like windows of opportunity, right? So if the wealthy are leaving, right, that means your high end is less attractive. And you look at a lot of people, I'm going to say, let's say 3 years ago, rushed to that ultra high end, that $4 or $5 million plus price point. And you look at all these rehabs that started going on back then where they're add-ons, and they take a long time. That's not a huge buyer pool, right? That's 1% of America. And you look at the opportunity for Southern California, when you looked at it back then, it didn't seem really that you'd have a big buyer pool. When you looked at it to a global marketplace, Southern California was the cheapest place in the world, really, for that type, that it offered, close to entertainment, awesome weather, right? And the stuff was selling back then for $800, $900 a foot, when the same comparable thing for a box in New York was, $2,800 or $3,500 a foot. You go to Hong Kong, that's $4,500 a foot. You go to England, right? That was $6,000 a foot. So $800 a foot, pretty cheap, right? And if you're like a guy who's a CEO that's a billionaire type person, it doesn't take that long to get here, right? Like it used to. It used to be an 18, 20-hour, 2-stop flight. It's a Learjet, 13-hour flight to get here from Europe.
The kids are saying
Right. So it's kind of cool because if you didn't grow up in LA, this whole celebrity thing is actually a big problem. And so there was a upswing for a per square foot kind of valuation there.
So we're gonna move on. We've talked about kind of acquisition and pricing, which, by the way, one other quick thing on acquisitioning, a great spot to be if you're looking to buy property is in backup position, right? So if there's stuff that is in escrow that falls out, you talk about creating distress quickly. Matt talked about finding distress. Someone who thought they were going to close 12 days from now and all of a sudden their buyer backed out is all of a sudden really eager to hear your offer. So just because something's in escrow doesn't mean it's no longer an opportunity to keep an eye on it. It's one thing we all, the last 2 deals we got we were in backup position. We've got about maybe half an hour left here, and we really haven't talked a lot about fixing up the property. You kind of touched on that, so I'd like to spend some time on that. David, Carl, I'm going to throw this one at you guys first. I mean, obviously you identify the deal. Dave, you mentioned your formula. Well, clearly determining what the renovation cost is going to be is a huge factor in that. How do you guys do that?
You want to talk to that because Carol's more, in that respect, more formulaic than I am. I've done so many of them that I get a pretty good handle just walking in and looking at what this one looks like as against what previous ones we've done look like. That said, I have pretty good confidence in able to move quickly based on my initial swag. But then subsequently, we bring in one of our general contractors and we get the whole thing laid out. It's a challenge though, because unlike new construction where you can actually do a line item budget because you're starting with a whole cloth and you know what you're going to run into when you start with dirt and then build from there. On a renovation project, you don't know what you're going to run into. And so that's why you have to have I always have a pretty good sized margin for the go wrong, right? And if I don't consume it, I make more money. But I figure that I am going to consume it just from a point of view of budgeting. So we do our best job of budgeting, put in a really thick layer of that's probably going to go wrong, okay? And then hope that it doesn't. But it often does. So do we do a line item bid where we say we're going to have 17 doorknobs at $17.50 a piece? No. Okay? Do we say we did one like this and we ran into these issues and it cost about this much and this one looks to be about that? Yeah, that's the way I do it.
Do you guys have contractors that come in and help refine that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
We're pretty good about walking the property and understanding what we need to do based on what we've done before, but we also walk it with a contractor. And then, we still do a full home inspection. We just had this conversation about the house the other day. It's based on where the trees were on the property. It's like, God, I just don't want to deal with a cracked foundation. And so you don't avoid those things. All these TV shows drive me nuts. It's like, oh, I can't believe that the foundation's cracked. It's like, well, how come you didn't know before you bought it? It's not like the only time we really have been surprised in that respect is when we've actually found something behind the walls that there's no way we could have seen. Rotted floors or really bad, former electrical or something like that. So we have a pretty good handle. We know what we need to do. We walk the house. We have a contractor come in. We, based on our experience, we do estimates, and we have been working with the same contractor or contractors now. We have a few of them. And we work with the same subs, and we know the quality of their work. So that takes a while to build up, but that's pretty valuable to us.
We do have a major system bid, like the roofer goes bids a roof, right? Florida goes bids a roof. I mean, you can get quotes for a lot of the major pieces. What you can't get quotes for is what happens when you start taking it apart. Right? That's where the surprises occur. I literally took down a wall in one. And there was 6 2x18s over our heads, figuring no problem on a 2-story home. When we took the wall down, the general contractor and I were standing there, and they had cut through all 6 of them, but there was only about that much meat left in the center of a 24-foot stand, with a second floor on top of it. And we both looked at each other like, let's step outside. And from there on out, it was jacks and shoring, so you just never know what you're running into. And so you have to have a nice thick reserve account.
Robert, what about you guys? How do you calculate?
So there's a difference, right? Key thing that they said is that these are people that they work with over and over again, right? So when I'm going to new areas, I've got new contractors to contend with. And I'll give you, I agree with everything they said with experienced guys that you've got these long-term relationships. 100%. You don't spend the time doing every line item. When you open up the walls, I do have a rule with even the existing guys, is that if you open up the walls and you got termite damage and stuff that needs to be replaced, I don't want to hear about it. I mean, just fix it, because it's $3.44 a stud. I don't sit here and give you a $1,500 bid on something that you need to replace 8 studs. Like, screw off, right? I mean, how long is this going to take, really? But I do bonus up my contractors. When we do well on the properties, they get a bonus at the end. And so when I screw up on a buy, and I screw up on buys, it just happens, right? They're there to help out. And so I think a big part of your existing guys is that, humility goes a long way, where you sit there and you share, right? And that's part of the win-win. And you build that into your profit, you build that into what you're going to do and your margins. When you're dealing with new contractors, it's a whole different ballgame. And I'll tell you, I'm a nice guy, but I explain to them that, I used to be a licensed contractor. I understand their business. Don't give me a bid, because I'm going to ask you, how long is this going to take you? And if you're far above the timeline of a national average, I'm going to say, well, you're below average, and I probably can't work, right? And so I look at a job and I break it down to, let's say, the average hours of a job. If it's a new contractor, I probably spend an extra week, and a lot of this is already templated, right? But going over, these are the doorknobs, these are the handles, this is the kitchen, these are the windows we're using. Because what happens is when you walk through, it's like, oh, I want to replace all the windows. Fantastic. They're thinking sliders because it's cheap. I'm thinking double hem because it's an area that needs double hem, or a style of home that needs that, or a casement because I'm going more, more traditional. So if you don't detail that stuff out, those little things will bite you 100%, and that's where your budget goes from 100,000 to, very quickly 180,000. And a lot of contractors, what they do is they leave a lot of stuff out, because guess what happens once they're started with the job? You're a captive audience. Very unlikely you're going to get another contractor to do some job on some other contractor's site and take his liability without charging you a lot more, and he knows it. So you have, I have been in the contract with the new guys that, if they're walking through, take a week. I don't care. Walk through, get underneath, crawl over, dig a hole, whatever you want to do. But you're doing all this homework. And if you screw up, then you're going to eat it. If it's over $2,000, I should have got it, right? And then I'll eat it. But if it's something that's simple, that's like, and I'm talking material costs, then you're going, that's your fault. You should have caught that. And I'm trying to tell them, like, listen, I'm building a long-term relationship. It's not just one house. I want to do a lot of houses with you guys. The other thing is, I used to qualify the new contractors like I did borrowers, because I want to see their bank statements. Because if they're going down to like 0, my first draw is finishing off some other job, 100%. No question. Yelp reviews, that's the benefit of the internet now, is you can find out a lot about a person that you couldn't before. But you got to sit there and do it. It's a little, monotonous and boring, but until you find something, you're like, oh yeah, pumped up that you're not going to do business with this guy. Right?
AJ, how do you guys validate a repair quote, right? Because you're the lender, but that's a huge component of the deal.
Sure. Up till now, thankfully, we've been involved in a lot of transactions where, much like you guys, we can walk around. I can see a bid, look at the square footage area, I know where we're lending, and you know if it's BS or not. Thankfully, at the lender level, I see a lot of bogus bids, which is a blast, because people still think $5 grand is going to make you 100. It's pretty sweet. It's always fun to hear people's explanations of how they're going to swing that. But with us, over the years, we've been at it a long time. We've had a good opportunity to, for example, with every draw we do, we have site inspections that go out, not just for our safety, but for the borrowers as well. Well, over the years, our site inspector is also a veteran 20-year builder who's very, very close to us. So if something comes over and it looks very, off, I'll just shoot it over to him and he'll call me up and go, yeah, no way. Or yes, I can totally do that. And my reason for asking that is some people have some great connections with great contractors, or some of our borrowers are PCs themselves. I look at everything going, if you walk out on this deal, what's it going to cost me? I'm an average individual. I'm not a GC. I'm not heavily connected in this regard. So if I have to employ my guy, what's he going to charge me? Somewhere in the middle is reality, right? There's 3 sides to every story. But yeah, $12,000 bids on a 2,200 square foot house. Come on. So from that, a lot of it, yes, is a little bit of common sense. And then also, I do a lot of virtual walkthroughs. So I'll go on Redfin and look at the comps and literally virtually flip through the pictures and look at the quality, the fit and finish, the colors, and then look at your subject property and you can kind of gauge a couple things.
Yeah, Robert, I got the impression that when you have a house, you're going to really do a knocked out kitchen, bathrooms with tile and everything, wood floors and.
I do whatever the agent tells me that's going to get the highest yield, not the highest dollar amount. So what I do is I look at the opportunity, and there's the time value of money, right? So you look at if you're going to make 80% or 70% or 60% of what you're going to do after a 5 or 6 month rehab in a month, I'll take the short one all day long, every time. A few exceptions to that, but I mean most of the time. Now that's also, there's a key part of that. If you have deal flow, you can do that. If you don't have deal flow, then you don't have a business, right? You're just a deal person, right? And so you're trying, the goal of this is, if you look at any rehab really, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're making whatever you're making, divided by the amount of money, if you're doing one deal, I mean, it's not a lot of money. You're not going to become a millionaire out there, right? But if you can figure out the volume side of the business, then it's more fun. You make a lot more money. And I don't know that I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. I'm wondering how much those types of improvements increase their ability to sell the property quickly. I mean, if it's the nicest house in the neighborhood and it's still giving you somewhat of a profit, is it worth it to do that?
Well, yeah,
look at all these other houses, there's a problem with this house.
It depends. I'll give you an example of what was happening for us in like the west side, in like a Sunset Plaza area. You go through there and you're doing these rehabs, and I remember this time, and this was 2012, 2013. The houses, it wouldn't sell. We dropped the price, wouldn't sell, and then 3 weeks later we got multiple offers. I'm like, what the hell, man? How's that working out, right? I mean, it's been on the market. And then it goes for higher than what our original asking price was. And it just made no sense. We finally figured out, and this is where what you're talking about, is that you have a buyer pool that is a buyer pool that's active of, let's say, 8 people. And they're the ones that are looking at everything that hits the market. And somebody buys one. They buy the best one. So you're waiting in line until you're the best one. Right? So you can't change the location. But when they got to buy, they got to buy. And if something else hits the market that's better than you, you're still waiting. Right? And the trade-off in that market isn't necessarily $50,000. It's $200,000 before you pick up a new buyer pool. Right? And so you have to do the nicest stuff there or be the cheapest thing there. And location means a lot to that buyer, but that's also knowing your buyer pool. That's knowing the demographics, talking to the agents, because I don't know that. I mean, we did one that it was the same area. Agent tells us, it's like, yeah, this is going to sell for this much. And we're like, that's $200,000 above every other comp I've seen. And he's like, yeah, but Steven Spielberg lives right there, and your writers are going to pay a premium because they want to walk their dog when he walks his dog.
That's why you got to talk to the local agents. It's critically important that you got the guy that's been pounding doors in that neighborhood, right? And knows that Spielberg.
Yeah, Spielberg effect.
I think it's really important to understand all the detailed numbers of a rehab. So we do 5 to 10 a month out of state. So I have to have, my rehab manager manages all my contractors, and we control 100% of the materials. And so I urge you as, either prospective investors or experienced investors to break these things down. Actually go get a deal that you think even if you don't have a chance of getting it, get all the numbers and the layouts and the square footage of that deal. Go to Home Depot, Lowe's, every other supplier, and price out room by room. This is what we do on every transaction. I make him do this because I've been stolen from too much to not do it anymore. So what we do is we break down every room, including the exterior, room by room, materials and labor broken down. We control 100% of the materials ourselves. We have SKU numbers that we have formulated right into our bids for all the materials, and we have an estimated labor cost as well for how much time we think it takes to, for example, screw in one outlet. Maybe it takes 15 minutes or 10 minutes per outlet. And so we have a labor allocation for that, and we get square footages of exactly the square footage of every room, so we know how much paint we need, how much carpet we need, and we can allocate those things in detail. Until you get that working knowledge base to a degree, or you have enough experience walking through these things where you can say 40,000, 50,000, on this job, then it's going to be very hard for you to know what these rehab costs are unless you have a team member like that. And so it's really important to do those in detail and break everything down. And then we control 100% of the materials, and because of what Robert was saying about them, you go pay for materials and labor to get somebody started to go buy these materials. You don't know if that contractor's broke. I don't have to deal with that. And what I typically do a lot of times is I try to make sure that unless I know that they are okay on the money side, then I make sure I pay their guys directly too and get lien waivers from all their guys underneath them to make sure that they pay their guys. I had a contractor just recently on a 19-unit property that we were controlling 100% of, so I wasn't so worried, and we were paying his guys directly. And I'm like, well, that one draw we gave you for the labor to pay, your general laborers, which is the only guys we weren't paying, did you pay them? And how are you doing with money? And how do you know that you're doing good with money? And he said to me, well, I know I'm doing okay with money if I have money in the bank. And I'm like, oh, it just hurts me, because I'm sitting there going, I know you're screwing yourself and you're screwing the guys out of money. So therefore, from that moment forward, I paid his guys directly because I'm going, I'm not going to have one of their guys put a lien against my building for $5,000 or whatever the heck it is and hold up my sale and my process and what I'm trying to do. So keep that in mind when you're doing these rehabs. Piece that out in detail. So, question.
Can I just make one suggestion?
Yeah.
If people are getting started and they're like, there's so much stuff that everyone's talking about, go on to Redfin and create a little search of properties that are in your neighborhood or a neighborhood in LA somewhere that you can drive to. Just every property that comes on the market, run the numbers for it, go and find comparables, and just run it as if you're going to buy it, even if you can't. Theoretically, if you're going to run the numbers, you should get an agent to write up an offer, even if you don't think you're going to be able to pull the money together. But go and just do that, and go and walk it when there's an open house, and just practice doing this, because you can run hundreds of properties within a 3-month period. You should be pretty comfortable so that you can go to somebody and say, hey, I haven't done this before, but I've comped out, put 100 offers in the last 3 months, like 50-50, let's move forward with this. I have a contractor friend because now they see that you're at the places and you start building the network. It all builds on itself. You have to just get started somewhere. So
yeah, I'll add something to what he's saying here is that if you're doing that and just getting started, like follow the ones you don't get, right? Because someone else who's more experienced possibly bought it, and see how it turns out. See what they did to it. You learn, I think, more from the ones that you don't get than you do from the ones that you get. If you're once you're doing it, right? Your first ones you're going to learn a lot, either. But you'd rather learn and make money than the seminar that tell me to get calls from these. You probably get calls now from the
seminar.
those guys. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. They used to, their students would tell us, it's like, well, here's this deal. I'm like, that's not a good deal. Well, you're gonna lose $20,000 on that. He's like, oh, well, listen, I'd have to pay to go to college. Wouldn't you rather have, it's like anything, right? Wouldn't you want your first experience to be like a good experience? Not the ones, oh yeah, that's.
My answer is give me the 20 grand and I'll take you along on all my projects, okay? And you can go to college on me.
But anyway, the people who want to who are so unhappy in whatever their normal job is, who want to get out, they'll justify a lot of stuff. And just make it a good deal. I mean, I've partnered with people who are experienced, or just mirror them, help them find a deal, even if you took a finance fee, say, hey, can I be your guy to help you, whatever. There's an added benefit to what he was saying about taking control of the materials is that, get a lot of mileage. It's free vacations.
Yeah.
Or cash back credit card.
Or cash back. Zero bank.
Can I take 1 minute and try to raise up the conversation to maybe the 10,000 foot level? Because it's a concept that I learned the hard way, and I'd sum it up as in the phrase breaking new prairie. Okay? It has to do with the relationship between land value and house value. All right? And this relationship is critically important when you're looking at the market that you're going to want to move-in and also in any one deal. The relationship is this: if you go to Las Vegas or you go to Dallas and the market starts to pick up, builders everywhere start breaking new prairie, okay? And they start building new houses in a little further away from town in that bullseye ring that you see around these types of communities. I had it in Phoenix, okay? When you can break new prairie, there's no pressure on the old inventory in terms of price. So it's very easy to find that you're overinvested in an older home that you're trying to renovate because somebody can go buy a new home 3 miles out and the commute's really not that bad. That's happened in Phoenix to me, all right? The same thing happens in Vegas, and the same thing happens in Riverside, in Fresno, and so on. Where it doesn't happen is at the Pacific Ocean. There is no new prairie, okay? All right, and this is one of the reasons we see this god-awful, unbelievable difference in pricing between the coastal areas and everything else. That's the good news for the coastal areas. Here's the bad news for flippers in the coastal area, okay? The land is everything, right? And then if you think about it, if you got a $1 million lot with a $100,000 house on it, and you double the value of the house through your efforts, how much have you actually grossed up? $100,000. But you had to carry $1.1 million to get it done, right? And you had to invest 50, maybe make it so. Now, we use an exaggerated numbers here, but you got the idea. The relationship between the value of the lot and the value of the structure on the lot, it's critical to keep in mind that you cannot change the value of the lot. You can only change the value of the structure. You have to have enough structure value that you can influence in order to achieve enough margin to cover the fact that the lot was so damn expensive, right? That's how people get killed in upscale markets like the ones we have here along the coast, right? And that's why you see even great houses that would be great renovation candidates getting demoed. Because by building a new home, you get a substantial amount of structure value to cover the value of that extraordinarily valuable lot, right? Be very, very careful about that beautiful mid-century on that killer lot in a great location, and you can, add $100,000 in value to it, but it costs you $1.2 million to get in and $70,000 to do it, and you got $1.3 million, and you got your ass handed to you. Okay, should have torn it down and built a mega structure, right?
I don't know, I think there might be some new properties going out. Have you guys seen those ones on the ocean houses that are like halfway into the water, the floating ones? One of them might be the new ocean view.
Well, there's nothing wrong. I mean, the technology we have now, you can build housing that would be underneath the Pacific. Think about it, all right? Plenty of bottom out there in Santa Monica Bay.
Any other questions we have? Okay, there is.
Now you are flippers, and the end of the game is no rental, none of those things for consideration.
We keep some of ours.
Yep.
Question for Jay. You mentioned earlier your formula that you pencil take 80% all in, 10% profit, 5% buffer, and 5% sales cost. Is that typically what you do?
That's what my pencil says.
Right.
Now, what I actually do varies a lot because there's no telling how it's actually going to turn out, right? Sometimes it's a lot better. Sometimes it's worse. None of us is precognitive of what it's actually going to cost to do the project and also what the project's going to be worth at the end. Another critical consideration is that I used to be able to turn my money 3 times a year in renovations. Lucky to turn it 1 time a year now because of the backup in the regulation and the cities and permits and so on. It's just become, so I have to make the same amount of profit on my working capital on 1 project, I have to make 3 times as much money as I used to have to be able to make on 3 projects in 1 year. So it just becomes, this business has become harder and harder and harder as, ironically, the economy has picked up and more people are more and more confident about buying. It's driven the buy side of the raw material up dramatically. You have to almost bet that it's going to be worth more when you're finished than you think it's going to be worth. And I'm very hesitant to make that wager, especially with my investor funds.
with that in mind, I think it's a question for all three of you, maybe move to KJ. Obviously, prices are going crazy, and nobody knows if we're in a bubble now. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. I mean, it can go on for years or crash tomorrow. How are you guys protecting yourself now for what might or might not happen? It's a lot different now than it was, say, 5 years ago.
AJ, go first.
Sure. Well, again, some of the areas that we went in, we look back at the worst of the worst, right? We look at some of these markets to see how bad they crashed, so to say. And that word, I think, is a little aggressive, to be quite honest, because, frankly, we wrote a lot of loans where people were putting $300,000 to $400,000 down. And the difference in mindset now, at least, if there's a correction, is that it's probably a little more psychological on the buyer's end than it is for people so quick to walk away. Values may change. They're going to do. I look at the housing. Well, I think the stock market's kind of like the housing market on crack if you look at charts, right? You look at how things move, fluctuate, and kind of correct. And it usually starts with a shift in sentiment. And when you get to that shift in sentiment of where values are going to go or people's concept of it being expensive, usually tailors back to the affordability, and then you look at what's affecting affordability, and it's lending guidelines, right? Lending guidelines are still pretty aggressive right now. We make loans pretty often to people with 780 plus credit scores, money in the bank, but their taxes are horrible. But they're going hard money. It's crazy because they're putting $200,000 to $300,000 down against a purchase of property. I don't know that they're going to be so quick to walk away from that when it's hard cash that they've got invested. So we forecast for things like loan to value protection, obviously, and appraisals. And yes, values may change. So we always, as a lender, we look at it and go, okay, if the worst happens in the areas we're looking at, what are we looking like as far as a hit? Maybe it's 25, 30, 35%, maybe 40 at the worst. And what would the effective rebound rate be given to those markets by means of what type of commerce is involved in that market? What, is it the blue collar market? What's happening? What are jobs doing? Are they quick to leave? Is it a high commuter market? Are people out in this pocket commuting by far to where that may not be justified to work in those areas, or they're the quickest jobs to lose, or what have you? I think those markets tend to affect a lot more drastic. So we protect ourselves as A, staying out of markets that we feel are a little more transient. B, just kind of doing analytics 10 years back and hoping that we can kind of trend, essentially, sentiment going forward, given lending guidelines and the things that affect buyer. Every buyer is going to get a loan, you guys. You've got to be very, very well aware of what a paper lending guidelines are, because if you're flipping a property, know who's coming to buy it and what the actual qualification that person has to buy. They can give you the highest offer. If they don't qualify, it's completely irrelevant, and they just sucked up 45 days of your time.
Robert, what's your answer to that?
Yeah, I'll agree a lot with a lot of that. I think if you have a 10% drop, that's pretty catastrophic if it happens pretty quick. And I'm not really looking. I don't think we're going to have a 30% hit, and there's a few things that could go that way, but it's a maybe 5% shot, which is a pretty great shot, right? That we didn't used to have. And so you have to account for that a little bit. I'm looking at areas that have a shortage of inventory, and that's kind of what I like. I like low inventory areas. I'll be more aggressive on those. The areas that have things that are active, and especially things that are active in city, I will be much more conservative on. And so far as protections, I think that rather than buy everything myself and have all of my cash into a deal, I don't mind taking on some investors or taking on other things that I didn't normally do. With that said, it's mostly the returns. I mean, the last downturn, I had investors, and I made everybody whole personally, because it was a lot of them were, like I mentioned earlier, were friends and family, and so I'm going to sit across from them at Thanksgiving, and but if you had a hedge fund that came back, they understood that, hey, we're getting principal back, it's fantastic. And and that's okay with them. So part of it is the relationship you build. Is the issue that comes up, is it your fault or is it the market fault? Right? And you look at down markets, and if you look at 2008 to let's say 2012, right? That was a down market because it didn't start really going up until 2012, and the hedge funds all came in and started buying. And so there's a lot of money. That was actually probably most of the money was made then, because you get buy places, and I used to have the saying that my old partner was everything. It's got to be worth $100,000 because it's in LA. And then we start seeing places in Compton for $36,000. I remember speaking at a club. I don't know if it was a FIBI was back then, and they said, well, it's LA. How far do you think it's going to drop? I'm like, I don't know. Ask the people in Detroit. There's houses for $100 on HUD homes that don't sell, right? And the same thing was happening in Buffalo, and they were, where do you drop it? And so you look at like your downside risk. It's got to be a percentage of your net worth. If you're just starting out, you're going to gamble because you have to gamble, right? And hopefully you do the homework on the valuation, you do your homework on the construction, and think you're going to sell this for. This is why I'm not doing new construction or add-ons right now, is because we're probably at the tail end of this cycle somewhere. I don't really want to do a 16 or 12-month project today because anything can happen, right? You got political atmosphere, you've got economic atmosphere, you've got the global economic atmosphere that now affects us, which it didn't really affect us when I started my career. And that power of information that you've heard like a lot of this with the election was fake news, right? He hit it. It's buyer sentiment. It doesn't have to be real. They just have to believe it's real. And your market tanks. And so he's right. You look at the demographics. You look at the fundamentals of an area. One thing I like to look at is there's two reports, two banks that do it. B of A and HSBC both do a open house report once a month. They survey 1,500 agents across the country. Has one question on the survey. How was your open house? As expected? Better than expected or worse than expected? When you start seeing more of those say worse than expected, not good. Right? And that's a very simple, easy, early indicator that tells you, hey, this is not good. The other thing is when banks start making just dumb decisions like
subprime loans.
Yeah, you got subprime loans, which were fantastic for us, and then sucked for us at the same time, right? But you also have that's a market shift, right? And that's a mind shift of like the financial architects that this is great, we're making so much money, and we're going to do something. And you're starting to see some of those things now where it's like, all right, it's not quite as bad as like you're unemployed, still okay, right? But it is where you can have an extra $1,000 of income from cash, or we're going to give this demographic of the market, more leverage via phantom down payments and what have you. So some of that's starting to happen again, and you probably see it a lot more on the retail side as well.
Didn't they just skew FICO scores too for some people as well?
So FICO scores get skewed because there's several demographics in this in the country that gets skewed, and there's a lawsuit against and they said, okay, we're going to bump their FICO scores because they get hit. And part of it is true. Part of it is if you see. So I sat on several nonprofits in South Central, which is where we were lending a lot. And some of the stuff and the stats that I heard were just I didn't believe it. I thought they were just unbelievable. And they're so far off from what the national average is that you look at it and you're like, that can't be true. Until you dig in and you're like, holy crap, that's true. And you look at, I don't want to give you some of these you guys, it was completely BS, but it is things in certain areas are much worse than, the media will portray.
Yep. Let's say that this is great conversation for North and South. Dave Carroll, any parting thoughts before we wrap up?
I have one thought, and that's this: if you haven't seen The Big Short, make sure you see it. Okay, it's an underlying educational component of understanding what happened in the prior downturn as compared to what's likely to happen if there is a future downturn. And the biggest difference is that lending criteria had swung so far to the liberal side that anybody, including the character of the stripper who had 5 houses and no job or no provable income, had the pendulum swung so far back that only people with unbelievable credit for a while there, now they're loosening up a little bit now, but for a while there, only people with unbelievable credit or cash were able to actually do a transaction. The difference today is that those people, exactly as you said, are not going to walk away. Whereas the people who had fogged the mirror and bought 5 houses, as soon as they didn't work out, they walked away. The amount of inventory that hit the market and the distressed market back because of that lending criteria, okay, crushed values in the marketplace, because remember, values trade at the margin, not on the average, right? And so my opinion is we're not going to see that kind of a crush this time around because we don't have that kind of a substantial lending condition in portfolio or finance properties out there. Okay, in fact, we have an awful lot of cash properties or people that have a good job and can make the payments, and if the value goes down, they're not going to walk away. So I think we're not going to see that kind of a crash. I think we're going to see, a more normal sine wave of a little increase, a little down. But the number one thing that I think is that perception is reality. And when buyers perceive that you can't lose money by buying a property, and the busboys at the cocktail party are talking about how they're going to make money flipping houses, okay, this is the time to think about pulling in your horns and moving towards a liquid position, okay? So those are my thoughts.
All right, well, first of all, let's give a big round of applause for our panelists. Our next panel is back here on April the 12th. We're doing a panel on investing in notes. So if you ever had any desire to learn more about investing in notes, performing and non-performing notes, we'll see you back here on April the 12th. It is live on Meetup, so go ahead and RSVP. As I mentioned, we have people here that are waiting to take this room down because we have meetings tomorrow morning. So when we're done here, North Italia, which is literally just right over here, we've got the whole patio reserved. You can either go back out the front door where you came in, or there's a door, if you go down this hallway, there's a door out to here, there's a stairwell behind us, and you can kind of walk around the back. So thank you guys very much for showing up, and we'll see you over at North Italia. Thank you.